recording this reflection following what I'll label as the bus incident for ride paratransit after my first H-EDS specific PT appointment. So what's most important is asking myself what is going to connect me, bring me the most peace of mind and body, the mind being part of the body and interconnected. Because I'm not okay with circumstances dictating my wellness. And to go from such a high with the physical therapy, my lower back was on fire going in, and he did his adjustments, I did my exercises, and even with the exercise, the last two exercises made it a little bit challenging, a little bit extra challenging on the muscles. I still came out of there with at least 2 levels. We'll say out of 10 scale, I went in 6 to 8. It progressed to 8 as I was sitting longer. I left there with, well, immediately after the adjustments, it went down to a 4 when my default is a 6. And then after the exercises and waiting around for ride paratransit and stuff, then it started kind of creeping back to a 5, 6. But in any case, it stayed at a 6 again, as opposed to creeping up towards an 8 or higher while sitting in my chair on the ride. So this physical therapy seems very promising. Because the thing here is that because it's hyperPOTS alongside the H-EDS, the POTS may be treatable, curable for me, because my theory is that it is mostly trauma-based and then is amplified now by the long untreated H-EDS. So it may be a matter of the POTS is curable, the H-EDS I can just apply maintenance if this Muldowney method works for me, which means not needing the wheelchair, which was already something that, or not needing the wheelchair nearly as much. And then on the ride back, there was a mechanical malfunction and or was not properly secured and locked. The 2 front securement things just didn't do their job when the van had hit the brakes at one point, and my wheelchair went flying back. Thankfully I didn't hit my head, but I was holding my whole body weight by one finger on one J hook bracket that I just happened to have the reflex to grab. And my left hip dislocated and my hands bruised. And it sucks because, I just had all my joints put back in place, which I found, I was told that I had 6 joints out of place. I thought it was just my hips today. So it's very clear that there's just a lot that I just was told to, pull up those bootstraps for, and there's just so much more to it that I just didn't get cared for all along, and that I'm not crazy, because even with Michael, the PT, the owner of this place too, he went through all the criteria and stuff. He didn't question the diagnosis, he specializes in this, and it was just so matter of fact for him of no, typical of people with H-EDS and all this, there was no questioning with him. It's so clear to people who acknowledge it, and then for everybody else, all the other practitioners and everything over the years, family members, all these people just telling me that I'm making shit up, and then to have someone who literally point out specific joints, specific ligaments, and be your right hip is twisted out, and listing out specific ligaments that I can't remember, but being your right hip is twisted this way, your left hip is twisted up and out, and then like all these other things, like to have it be tangibly, objectively listed, like this is a very physical issue and not just trauma. It's, I was born with a connective tissue disorder, and then the trauma, dysautonomia, POTS, just made it worse, and back and forth, because the pain from the untreated H-EDS or unmanaged then amplifies everything else. So it's just, this is a very cathartic point in my experience where I'm getting the validation of my pain experience, and now it's my time to just feel it emotionally. Because the Muldowney method is actually incredibly gentle. So actually having that gentleness be the most effective thing is like, there's such a great contrast between that and just so much pain I've been carrying physically and emotionally, and then both amplifying the other. So I think there's a chance I'll be able to walk again. And some motivation for that, if that does apply, is back to my original statement of I refuse to let circumstances dictate my well-being. And what happened on that ride, paratransit ride, to have a mechanical malfunction or a simple malfunction or error damage my wheelchair, to have such a great impact on my well-being, is not okay with me, and I don't accept that. I refuse that. I reject that. I battled my insurance for 2 years. The first year of that, I was bedbound entirely. Second year of that, I was going unconscious 5 to 7 times a day. The worst my POTS has ever been. And my H-EDS, although I was speaking up about it at that point because I didn't have the formal diagnosis, we didn't include that in the documentation anyway. 2 years battling insurance, getting absolutely fucking nowhere. NSM's fault, by the way. I'm going to hold them accountable on record. It wasn't the insurance's fault. Insurance has their issues, makes it difficult, but NSM neglected my case for 2 fucking years. 2 years battling insurance, getting nowhere. I pay out of pocket for my wheelchair $9,000. $9,000 equipment. I pay out of pocket only because I had money in my pocket at that exact point of just being fucking done. That's a, I'm not gonna do that blanket statement. At that point, I could not self-propel in the donated chair that I was using, and it's an ultralight wheelchair. Ill-fit, but ultralight. I couldn't self-propel it anymore, and I was just caught between going back to, like, it basically was creeping my way back to being bedbound because NSM's neglect, insurances, denials, and being with ill-fit equipment. I couldn't do it anymore. So when I got my back pay, the only reason I had any money available and was able to buy this new wheelchair 2 weeks ago, it finally arrived. I spent nearly half my back pay, money that I could have bought a car with, I could have kept for emergencies, travel opportunities, just experiences. Furniture, whatever, food for when it gets tough. I sacrificed so much to buy this chair. 2 weeks. I've only had this chair for 2 weeks. And all it took was a mechanical and or user error malfunction on 2 securement straps on a paratransit ride to twist my frame, bend my axle bar, the most central parts. Those aren't just, you can't just replace parts with that. That's, the chair is damaged. That's, you need to buy a new wheelchair to fix that. Over a simple mechanical error. I refuse that. I refuse all of that. So whether this is a matter of I'm relapsing on my radical acceptance bit of being a wheelchair user due to the hardships that are against me, or if it's a matter of with the H-EDS specific PT, this is just redirecting me into a place of using the wheelchair less potentially over time. Whatever it is, this is my experience right now. I don't know what the result is going to be, what my choice direction is going to be exactly. I'm just riding out this the 8 sessions I have insurance approved for these H-EDS PT appointments, and we'll see where my headspace is at for that. If any other things occur to my wheelchair or anything relative to mobility aids within that time, which, for the record, in case I do post this for some reason, which I kind of feel called to, even though it's an informal setup, I didn't do my mic, and this was really just for me to reflect on, but maybe it helps to have other people tell their stories, or it does help to have other people tell their stories. I know that. It's how I got the support I got. I'm thankful that Ride Paratransit has cameras on their ride, so they have it like recorded me flying back in my chair, like what fucking happened. I went, and for the record, I'm now into a portion of, if this gets posted, I'm applying context for a listener. I'm not someone who complains, both like in general or formally. I'm not Karen, and I'm someone who manages my own shit internally in a healthy way. I don't need, I just don't. So for me to call, and I also want to, before I say this, I'm not here to get Ride Paratransit in trouble. I'd be okay with NSM in Rhode Island getting in trouble, National Seating and Mobility, because the amount of cases of just blatant neglect, and for me to have my case neglected for 2 years is just not okay, period. The only reason I'm not taking it to court is because I don't have the fucking energy for it, which is the terrible thing of like the equipment, like I can't do my day-to-day shit because I need equipment, so I don't have the energy to fucking take you to court over not helping me with my equipment, the thing you're literally paid to do. Anyway, not here to get anyone in trouble. It's just, I don't want other people to have to experience what I've experienced. And for those who have, I'm expressing solidarity in that, in understanding the pain behind that. I called customer service for Ride Paratransit. I expressed this, that my main concern is safety and other people's safety and well-being. I'm thankful that it was me and not somebody else, because at least I have the ability to like grab onto something like I did. If it was anybody else, they could have like smashed their head, like something worse could have happened. So I'm, in that way, I'm thankful it was me. And so I expressed it as, I don't want anybody to get in trouble. I'm not here to get the driver in trouble. I'm not angry with you guys in general. It was just some sort of basic error with great consequences. I just want to ensure that other people, other passengers are safe in the future. And I also took that call and said, I'm also going to take the space to express my grief. And I explained very like bullet point format of like, I fought insurance for 2 years, got nowhere, bought this $9,000 piece of equipment out of pocket with my back pay. That's most of my back pay. That could have gone to this, and that. It's not okay that this happened. And I just need that voice so that other people don't have to go through what I went through today. And they were receptive. They're bringing it to the supervisor, and they're going to check the cameras to watch what happened. And curious to see what happens, like if when I get a phone call back and whatever. Because the thing is, they can't just like not, and they will address it because they've been receptive. It's just they can't not address it because I now have twice weekly ride appointments with them to get to my physical therapy appointments. So we can't just play the game of like, oh, we haven't seen you, so we didn't get to talk to you or whatever. It's like, y'all are going to be seeing me twice a week, so we need to address this in some way or another. Even if it's just to acknowledge like, yeah, we're going to check the locks on the securement straps so other people don't get hurt. I don't at all. There's no way they're going to replace my wheelchair. So I'm not even like leaning into anything relevant to that. It's just really fucking shitty. And ultimately my conclusion for myself, my way of leaning into empowerment in this situation, this circumstance is I voiced for myself and my community. I stayed aligned with my values in doing that. And ultimately, I need to reflect upon what is going to be best for me going forward regarding just how much is on the line as a wheelchair user over things that are out of my control, and what that says about my peace of mind and what my part is in all of this, and giving it time. Time's going to be the only thing that clarifies this for me. So I heard for us, community, I suppose. So yeah, that's my story today.